Hello there, you're watching news at 6 on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor. Here are the headlines. Blame game over who triggered cancellation of NSA level talks. India debunks charge of setting preconditions. Accuses Pakistan of deviating from UFA agreement. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley launches Bundan Bank in Kolkata to fund small and medium enterprises and create jobs in eastern states. Floods in Assam displaced lakhs of residents. Non-stop rains hamper rescue efforts in many districts. Migrant crisis worsens in the Mediterranean. Italy responds to distress signals from 22 ships. And in the second test in Colombo, chasing a victory target of 413, Sri Lanka finished fourth day at 72 for 2. Sangakkara departs for 18 runs in his last test innings. Well, our top story, a day after the NSA level talks were cancelled, blame game has begun as to who is responsible for it. Now, India has blamed Pakistan for deviating from the UFA agreement by choosing Kashmir as the key agenda. Meanwhile, Pakistan accused India of setting preconditions for the talks. Result, yet another blow to the efforts to normalize the ties between the neighbours.
वो तो क्या कागज देंगे, हम तो जिंदा सबूत है हमारे पास, हम तो जिंदा आदमी खड़ा कर देंगे उनके सामने कि ये देखिए ये आपका आतंकवादी है, इसलिए वो भाग रहे हैं.
India seems hesitant, reluctant to recognize the significance of the most important sentence in the UFA statement.
The rhetorics had hit high pitch even before the talks were officially called off previous night. But it has not come down by much on Sunday, as two sides continue blame game over the cancellation of the NSA talks. The Pakistan Foreign Ministry said that the talks can't happen on preconditions set by India. It also rejected India's objections over meeting with separatists. Terming Pakistan's decision as unfortunate, Home Minister Rajnath Singh said any third-party involvement in talks was out of question.
बात तो केवल ये हुई थी कि NSA स्तर की जो वार्ता होगी उसमें कोई तीसरा पक्ष नहीं रहेगा. ये तो NSA स्तर की वार्ता भारत और पाकिस्तान के बीच तय थी. भारत का कदम क्या होगा अब तो पाकिस्तान को फैसला करना है.
Pakistan's decision to call off talks drew mixed response in Delhi.
The problem is, did you not know all along in these months and these weeks, even at UFA, did you not know that this would happen? You were so childish and you were so credulous that you believed that this will not happen and that you can actually go into a full conversation on terrorism?
I think Pakistan does not realize that how it's eating, terrorism is eating their own land. India has enough evidence. But the tragedy is Pakistan is not ready to accept those evidences.
Pakistan was moving around, trying to block the negotiation, and ultimately they have succeeded. You see, Pakistan is a part of the problem. They don't have any solution.
Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Mufti Mohammad Saeed expressed his disappointment but hoped the talks to resume soon. However, he also had a word of advice targeted at the separatists, whose involvement has once again led to calling off talks. The last time when the two foreign secretaries were scheduled to meet, Pakistan High Commissioners meeting with separatists forced cancellation of the talks.
Had the talks taken place, it could have given some relief to the people living on both sides of the border who are victims of firing and retaliatory firing by the armies. And that is why there will be need of more talks than no talks. Now there is time to activate the back channels to persuade Pakistan not to be hostage for a photo opportunity with Hurriyat leaders. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Sanjay Kumar in Delhi.
And 3 militants were killed and an army jawan was injured in an encounter in Kashmir's Handwara district on Sunday. The encounter started last night after the troops launched a search operation for the militants who were hiding in that area. The encounter ended this morning. The identity of the slain militants is being ascertained. A large cache of sophisticated arms and ammunitions were recovered from the militants.
They are being pushed in, and ultimately they are trying to create a situation where they can say that now everything is not all right in Jammu and Kashmir, but the actual position is there is peace in Jammu and Kashmir. These are only some stray incidents, and we are capable of tackling all these things, and we are doing it.
And in the other big story, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley today announced the launch of the Bundan Bank in Kolkata. Now, this bank is part of the government's efforts to expand the banking services in the East Indian states. Jaitley said that besides funding lakhs of small and medium entrepreneurs, the bank will create jobs and act as a response to the agrarian poverty.
India's first private bank in 11 years, inaugurated in Kolkata by Finance Minister Arun Jaitley.
Thank you very much.
From being a microfinance institution, the Bundan Bank on Sunday stepped into its new role as a full-fledged scheduled commercial bank.
Has served almost 7.5 million, 75 lakh small entrepreneurs, mostly women. When even if they are funded with little amounts, they are able to generate a lot of economic activity.
The new innovation is expected to primarily cater to the unorganized sector, like daily wage earners and women running small businesses. As a bank, it will also offer savings, remittance and insurance.
The object is to fund them to the extent of over 1 lakh crores across the country. Small entrepreneurs, from hawkers to shopkeepers to those doing small services, they are generating almost 11 to 12 crore jobs in this country.
Bundan is the first microfinance company to transform into a bank. It is launching operations with 501 branches in the country. It comes almost a week after the RBI awarded in-principle approval to 11 entities to launch payment banks within 18 months. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now news from Assam, where the situation as far as flood is concerned is really bad because incessant rains in the upper catchment areas of Bhutan and Arunachal Pradesh have triggered floods in 13 districts of the state. Over 6 lakh people are affected as road communication has been hit at several places. Here is the report. Non-stop rain since Friday submerged houses and crops in many districts of Assam. Dhemaji, Lakhimpur, Kokrajhar, Bongaon, Chirag, Barpeta and Dibrugarh are among the worst affected. Residents are forced to wade through water, while in many areas hundreds of villagers are stranded in their houses. 12 people died, nearly 6 lakh are estimated to be affected.
800 মানুহ এতিয়াও পানীত আবদ্ধ হৈ আছে একেসকলে এতিয়া নিজৰ ঘৰৰ পৰা ওলাই যাবলৈ নাওৰ ব্যৱস্থা নথকাৰ কাৰণে এইখন মিচিংগাঁওতে প্ৰায় 800 মানুহ আবদ্ধ হৈ আছে এই মানুহসোপাক চৰকাৰৰ তৰফৰ পৰা এই ঠাইডোখৰৰ পৰা উক ঠাইডোখৰলৈ নিবৰ কাৰণে আমি এছডিচিৰ ওচৰলৈ গৈ আবেদন নিবেদন কৰি আছো.
The widespread floods hampered relief and rescue teams in many areas, but some respite is expected in the coming days with the rainfall easing somewhat. The Brahmaputra is flowing above the danger mark in many areas, flooding large areas near its banks.
डेंजर लेवल से 3 सेंटीमीटर ज़्यादा हो गया. कब से बढ़ा था? कब से बढ़ा था? अभी तो बारिश शुरू हो गया. अभी तो पानी का मौसम है, इसलिए पानी बढ़ रहा है.
Flood waters damaged at least 54 roads and submerged over 57,500 hectares of crop area. Chief Minister Tarun Gogoi reviewed the situation and directed possible relief steps on Saturday. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And Union Minister General V.K. Singh's daughter Mrilani Singh has joined the ongoing protest for one rank, one pension at Delhi's Jantar Mantar. She called the demands of the ex-servicemen reasonable and asked for the implementation of the scheme at the earliest. She is also the wife of a serving army officer. The army veterans have been on protest for the last 70 days. During this time, they've been demanding the same pension, one rank, one pension be implemented. They are also demanding for pensions benchmarked at the 2014 rates.
मैं एक पूर्व सैनिक की बेटी होने के तौर पर उससे जुड़ी हूँ. मेरे दादाजी भी फौजी थे, मेरे पिताजी भी फौजी, मेरे पति भी फौजी हैं. मोदी जी जो कहते हैं वो करते हैं और मुझे यकीन है कि वन रैंक वन पे एक सच्चाई बनेगी ज़रूर.
And more news and updates from across the nation and nationwide. The Supreme Court has upheld a death sentence for kidnappers seeking ransom. The court said that the rise in such incidents require a stringent punishment. The court's verdict came on a petition filed by a convict who was awarded death sentence in a kidnapping-cum-murder case. The Enforcement Directorate has issued fresh summons to separatist leader Shabir Shah for questioning in connection with the case of terror financing. The summons have been sent at the South Delhi guest house where Shah has been kept under detention. He was in Delhi to meet Pakistani leadership in prelude to the now cancelled NSA-level talks. He has been asked to appear this week. Nestle India plans to bring back its popular instant noodles back in the market by the end of this year. The announcement came after Bombay High Court's order overturning the ban on Maggi. It was banned because of alleged excessive lead content. However, the company said that it will continue with the existing formula of the product and not change the ingredients. And in news at 6, we'll take a very short break. Up next, Britain reopens its embassy in Iran 4 years after it was closed. Also, we'll be looking at the Syrian army's missile strike that has left over 50 dead near Damascus. Details are to follow. Stay with us.
Hottest topics.
If you can facilitate the opening up and the expansion of the international border trade, you can add to the economy.
370 धारा जो है वो जम्मू कश्मीर के साथ जोड़े रखती है.
Candid confessions.
The Congress has not been able to communicate.
We have to revive our links with the masses.
World-class healthcare is available to only a handful of people in this country.
Courting controversies.
A lot of leaders today think that they rule by divine right.
Now, media has become manageable.
Watch RSTV engaged personalities to the point. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. Thursday, 1:30 and 5:30 p.m.
I welcome Mr. K.C. Venugopal on It's My Life. You're not fond of too much of self-publicity, isn't that?
You have to win the minds of the people, not in the borders. My first priority to the constituency, LLP. When I was a student leader, usually I took 2 cinema in a day.
Favorite actor?
Hindi film Amitabh Bachchan. LLP fish curry is one of the most fantastic.
Suddenly he gets angry and suddenly he cools also.
A word like handsome.
Rahul Gandhi.
And your favorite line in Hindi?
मैं कहना चाहता हूँ. Watch me on It's My Life, only on Rajya Sabha TV.
Hello, I am Ishan Russell.
I'm Tracy Shilchi and you're watching News Tonight.
Together with the team of our
dedicated professionals from across various fields.
This is Shyam Sundar,
Vishal Dahiya,
Akhilesh Suman,
Frank Pereira from Beijing, China.
Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television. We bring to you
the news that matters here on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back after the break. Now, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj began a 2-nation tour of Egypt and Germany on Sunday. The visit is expected to bolster ties with both the nations, with particular focus on boosting trade and investment. During her visit to Cairo, Sushma Swaraj will hold talks with President of Egypt, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, and her counterpart as well. She is also scheduled to deliver a public address at the Diplomatic Club in Cairo to be hosted by the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs. In the second leg of her visit to Berlin, Sushma Swaraj will hold meetings with German Foreign Minister Frank-Walter Steinmeier. Both the countries are expected to review bilateral relationship with a particular focus on enhancing economic engagement. Well, let's get you some international news. Italy rescued thousands of migrants in its biggest operation so far on Saturday. The crisis worsened in the Mediterranean as hundreds of people crossed over into Macedonia that had declared a state of emergency on Thursday. Now, the country had also sealed off its frontier to stop these migrants from entering its territory. Here is more.
Over 2,000 migrants rescued, and the Coast Guards are still counting. Italy started its biggest single-day rescue operations in the Mediterranean after getting distress calls from 22 migrant vessels. Reports suggest 1,000 more migrants are headed to the Italian port. Meanwhile, in Greece, over 1,500 migrants boarded trains in Macedonia to Europe. They were mostly Syrian refugees trapped in no man's land for 3 days. They finally crossed the Macedonian border as overwhelmed security forces did little to prevent their passage. Earlier, police forces set stun grenades to stop the migrants. Macedonia declared a state of emergency last week and had sealed its southern frontier.
Today, the police allowed to the family to go. Not all the family, but just a letter for family. They beat us just for guys, not family. So we run away from the police and we come here.
What do you plan?
I plan to go to Serbia and after that to go European Union.
It's very, very bad. We are a people. We are not animals. We are alive. We need a life, a good life. We don't need a war.
Greece is also struggling to handle the growing migrant influx. Over 2,000 Syrian migrants arrived in the country for the third time in the last 4 days.
So much we walk. 4 hours of walking in Turkey and 4 hours of walking in Greece. We are so stressed. We hope to find a hotel now, get some rest.
When we came here, we make a travel from Afghanistan. First we came to Iran, then we came to Turkey, and then Greece. So we see lots of things, lots of dead bodies, lots of... don't ask about. It's really...
Macedonia has accused Greece of aiding the migrants' journey north at a pace it can't cope with. Greece began chartering boats to take migrants to the mainland after a record 50,000 of them landed from Turkey in July. As people flee the war in Middle Eastern countries like Syria, the UN Refugee Agency is calling on the European Union to open legal channels to allow them to find protection. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now news from the United States, where a campaign stop in Iowa. The presidential hopefuls Chris Christie and Bobby Jindal ignored the protesters there to promise a renewed fight against illegal immigration. The two men also took on US President Barack Obama over his foreign policy.
The latest to join the dramatic political campaigns in the US presidential race, Republican candidates Chris Christie and Bobby Jindal were cheered on by crowds at the Iowa State Fair on Saturday. Both candidates refused to be deterred by a contrasting group of immigration protesters chanting slogans, while they hammered home criticism of current laws on the subject.
I think American citizenship is an enormous gift. It's an enormous gift, and if you came here by breaking the law, I don't believe you should get citizenship. Now, we're going to have to figure out what we do.
My parents came to this country. They came to this country legally. A dumb immigration policy makes the country weaker, and that is what we've got today. It is clear to me we need to stop talking about it. We don't need a 1,000-page bill. We don't need a comprehensive approach. It is time to secure the border once and for all.
Jindal took an aggressive foreign policy stance, advocating the need to ramp up defense spending. Christie sought a more confrontational approach with Russia over its aggression against Ukraine and against China over its actions in the South China Sea.
We need to put missile defense back in Poland to make sure that the Russians understand they've taken Crimea, they're in Ukraine now, no further. And in China, they're building these military islands, artificial islands in the South China Sea to try to make sure that they restrict shipping lanes. We don't want the Chinese to control that. Those are free, open international waters. So we need to rebuild our military.
The stand of both candidates is likely to find support in Iowa that has a largely conservative Republican dominance. But whether it will have any impact on poll numbers is anybody's guess. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And some more international news and updates in Global Buzz. At least 50 bodies were retrieved from buildings after the Syrian army missiles hit residential areas in the rebel-held areas of Damascus on Saturday. More bodies are believed to be under the rubble of buildings occupied by dozens of families in the city of Douma. Britain is due to reopen its embassy in Iran this weekend, nearly 4 years after protesters ransacked the elegant ambassadorial residence and burned the British flag. The British Foreign Secretary arrived in Tehran on Sunday to reopen the embassy, marking a major step in its ending the Islamic Republic's isolation really from the West. French police are questioning Ayoub Al-Khazani, a 25-year-old Moroccan who is accused of carrying out Friday's attack on a high-speed train between Amsterdam and Paris. The suspect was restrained by passengers and is said to have links to a radical Islamist movement. President Petro Poroshenko warned of possible escalation of fighting in the east ahead of the Ukrainian Independence Day on Monday. Poroshenko made one of his gloomiest predictions in his country just 2 days before he meets German and French leaders in Berlin. He called for the meeting to seek pressure on Russia to implement a 6-month-old peace plan. Well, another short break in here. Up next, we'll get you all the sports news. Inderjit Singh becomes the first Indian to qualify for the shot put final at the World Athletics Meet. Also, gloomy news really from tennis, where Sania Mirza and Martina Hingis failed to reach the final of Cincinnati Masters after losing to an unseeded pair. Stay with us.
New government in New Delhi. New faces.
People are not investing because they are scared of your tax administration.
New thinking.
The auction process is a fair and good process.
You cannot have a one-size-fits-all reform policy.
For insights and perspective.
Judiciary should be more concerned about corruption within itself.
The Modi government slogan of "अच्छे दिन आने वाले हैं." Soon the people's slogan will be "हमारे पुराने दिन लौटा दो."
The biggest show on economic policy. Watch State of the Economy.
From cowries to metal pieces, Indian currency has seen many changes. The earliest punch-marked coins came from Gandhar. The East India Company at the turn of the 19th century also minted its own coins. The Indo-Greek coins come from a colony left behind by Alexander. They depict the golden rule of the Guptas, with embossed human portraits and matrimonial alliances like Chandragupta Maurya's wedding with Seleucus I Nicetas' daughter.
Tales that inspire, stories of social change. A salute to diversity, promoting public discourse. Events that motivate, inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries every Friday at 10:30 p.m, Saturday 12:30 p.m, and Sunday at 1 p.m.
Welcome back. Let's get you all the sports news. Well, Ajinkya Rahane's fourth Test century has put India in the driving seat on the day 4 of the second Test against Sri Lanka. Now, Rahane combined with opener Murli Vijay for a 140-run second wicket partnership. He and Rohit Sharma then added 85 runs for the fourth wicket as India declared their second innings on 325 for 8. The visitors set a mammoth target of 413 for Sri Lanka. Dhammika Prasad and T. Kaushal took 4 wickets each for the hosts. In the second innings, Sri Lanka lost opener Keshal Silva and Kumar Sangakkara cheaply. Now, playing his last innings, Sangakkara was caught on 18, marking an end to an illustrious career that he has had. The hosts finished on 72 for 2, requiring another 341 runs for victory.
Well played, he's played that fine.
And good news coming in. Well, Inderjit Singh became the first Indian to qualify for the shot put final at the World Championships at Beijing today. Now, Inderjit shrugged off a disappointing Group A qualifier after being disqualified in his second attempt. But then he made his third and final attempt count with a 20.47-meter throw. It pulled him in the final round as one of the 12 best performers. The final round is slated later this evening. Inderjit had also won a bronze at the 2014 Incheon Asian Games. And more sporting action in Sports Beat. World number 1 women's doubles pair of Sania Mirza and Martina Hingis lost their semi-final match to crash out of the Cincinnati Masters. The Indo-Swiss pair lost 4-6, 6-0, 6-10 to the unseeded Chinese Taipei's pair of Hao Ching Chan and Yuan Zhan Chan. With the loss, India's challenge ended in the tournament. Men's doubles specialists Rohan Bopanna and Leander Paes had lost their respective quarter-final matches on Friday. In the women's singles, third seed Simona Halep defeated Jelena Jankovic 6-1, 6-2 in the semi-finals. The 23-year-old Romanian converted 7 of the 10 breakpoints to beat the Serbian opponent. She will now meet world number 1 Serena Williams in the final. Serena beat Elena Svitolina of Ukraine 6-4, 6-3 in the first semi-final. Premier League champions Chelsea signed Brazil under-20 international forward Kennedy from Fluminense for an undisclosed fee. The 19-year-old, who was part of Jose Mourinho's squad on their pre-season tour, completed a move to Stamford Bridge. Chelsea had brought Spain forward Pedro from Barcelona earlier this week. Well, that's all in News at 6. News and updates continue on your channel. Keep watching Rajya Sabha TV.